UFC 317 International Fight Week, June 28th. You all know Ilia Topuria, and he will face former lightweight champion and #2 ranked Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight title.
Charles Oliveira, when you got 10 losses in your record, that's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 10. If he finds some adversity, he's gonna go to the ground waiting like till you end up the fight.
Ilia is a tough fighter. Someone who talks the talk and walks the walk. He's doing things, and I can see why he would want to challenge people, and I think a lot of people, he would be obviously a tough fight, and I think that what happens is...
In the main event, Ilia Topuria will face Charles Oliveira for the now vacant lightweight championship. That fight should just be an absolute banger of a fight because you got two guys with incredibly high finishing rates.
We've got Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira, which is now the main event of UFC 317 for the undisputed lightweight world championship, which means that Islam Makhachev has vacated his lightweight championship to move up and face Jack Della Maddalena in the main event of, I guess, the UFC card that's going to be in Australia, Perth.
So after a long wait, UFC has finally announced Ilia Topuria's next fight, and it's for the lightweight title. Unfortunately, the fans won't be able to see an Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria showdown, as the Dagestani fighter has decided to move up to the welterweight division to become a 2-division champion. However, this fight will still be a crazy one, as the former featherweight champion Ilia Topuria will face the former lightweight champion Charles Oliveira in the main event of UFC 317 on June 28th. After a long wait, Dana White came to Instagram Live and officially announced that Islam Makhachev will vacate his lightweight title and move up to the welterweight division. He is set to face Jack Della Maddalena for the welterweight title, but the date will be announced soon. Dana said just like Ilia Topuria, who holds an undefeated record of 16-0, had to vacate his featherweight belt, Islam had to do the same. Dana said Ilia will now fight former champion and current #2 ranked Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight belt.
Islam Makhachev is going to move up to the welterweight division to face Jack Della Maddalena. UFC 317 International Fight Week, June 28th. You all know Ilia Topuria, undefeated, 16-0, vacated his featherweight title. And now he's moving up to lightweight, and he will face former lightweight champion and #2 ranked Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight title.
Ilia Topuria, who has been waiting for this announcement for a long time, is very excited now to become a lightweight champion as well, after dominating the featherweight division for some time. After Dana White's announcement, Ilia Topuria reacted on his X account and made his intentions clear. He's confident that he'll become the new lightweight champion. He had a message for Charles Oliveira, offering an early apology, saying he's simply chasing his dreams and will continue his winning streak. Topuria took a shot at Islam Makhachev as well, calling it unfortunate that Makhachev chose to step away and avoid a fight with him. Ilia Topuria stated, "On June 28th, another dream will come true. I'll be the champion of the lightweight division. Charles, my apologies in advance. I'm just fighting for my dreams. It's unfortunate that Makhachev ran away, 17-0. Charles Oliveira recalled the moment he found out he would be fighting Ilia Topuria for the vacant lightweight title. He said everything around him was chaotic as everyone was excited about the announcement. When he checked his phone, he saw a flood of messages. He immediately went to his coach, Diego, and said it was time to get to work. With 46 days to prepare, Oliveira expressed his determination to bring the belt back home, where he believes it truly belongs. His focus now is on staying grounded, staying sharp, and making it happen.
Gritar lá, a molecada gritar, tal, tinha acabado o treino, tal. Peguei o telefone, milhares de mensagens, eu fui direto pro Diego já. E aí, é isso, vambora, tamo pronto, 46 dias. 46 dias pra esse cinturão voltar pra onde que ele nunca devia ter saído. Só vamos se apegar no que a gente tem que se apegar, manter o foco e fazer acontecer.
Charles Oliveira also shared his thoughts on Ilia Topuria's chances in the lightweight division. He said Ilia is a tough and dangerous fighter who not only talks confidently, but also backs it up with strong performances. Oliveira understands why Topuria wants to challenge others and acknowledges that he would be a difficult opponent for many. However, Oliveira also gave a word of caution. He noted that some fighters, once they become champions, start thinking about moving up or down in weight to chase bigger fights. But lightweight, he emphasized, realized is a very tough division, and anyone moving up needs to be careful. Still, Oliveira sees Topuria as a serious threat in the division.
Do you see someday you yourself fighting Ilia Topuria for the lightweight title?
Cara, o Ilia Topuria cara que duríssimo, cara que fala e vem
falar. Ilia is a tough fighter. Someone who talks the talk and walks the walk. He's doing things, and I can see why he would want to challenge people. And I think a lot of people, he would be obviously a tough fight. And I think that what happens is a lot of fighters, whenever they get a belt and they wrap that, they have that belt wrapped around their waist, they start thinking up and down in the divisions and you want to challenge things. But I think you have to be very careful when you're coming up to lightweight, because this is tough. This is a very tough division. But at any rate, I think he's a very tough and very dangerous guy.
Meanwhile, Charles Oliveira and Ilia Topuria also had a couple of months ago for the title shot. After Ilia Topuria moved to the lightweight division, he was only talking about getting a direct title fight against Islam Makhachev. However, Charles Oliveira did not like that, as he believed that he was the one who had been there for a long time and deserved a fight before anyone else.
O UFC, o MMA, tem muito cara que tá, falando demais. De história no UFC, eu posso falar, eu vou fazer 15 anos. Recordista de bônus, finalização, cara que quebra recorde, sou eu. Então olha só, eu quero lutar na Fight Week, Makhachev também, Dana, Shelby, Hunter, vamos fazer isso acontecer. Eu quero muito essa luta, eu tô em busca desse cinturão, eu quero se tornar campeão mais uma vez, entendeu? Então eu vou escrever essa história mais uma vez. O UFC, vamos fazer isso acontecer, essa é a luta que todo mundo quer ver. Eu tô pronto.
However, Ilia Topuria didn't like this interference from Charles and roasted him for asking for a title fight. He asked Charles Oliveira to step aside from the title picture. Topuria exposed the former champion with his recent performances and sees no reason for Oliveira to stand in his way. He also stated that vacating his featherweight belt was a calculated move. He has a clear goal in mind, and he's not going to let anyone, including Oliveira, interfere with his path to becoming a two-division champion. Ilia Topuria said, "Charles, it's better if you stay quiet. You have 10 losses, 5 by knockout, 4 by submission, and 1 by decision. You are the contender, while I am the champion, the father of the entire division. I haven't come here to ask anything. Here I am the one in charge." Despite their little beef, Charles Oliveira said he doesn't care about such things, as his only goal is to become the champion again. He said he respects everyone and is ready to fight Ilia Topuria for the title. He clearly mentioned that he won't fight anyone else in a contender fight and wants a title shot.
Então eu tô em busca do título. Eu não corro de ninguém, nunca corri, não vai ser agora que eu vou correr. Eu tô pronto para lutar contra qualquer um desses caras, né? Respeito todos eles, mas vou imprimir meu ritmo, meu jogo. Por que não, né? Se for pelo título, por que não lutar com o Topuria? Eu tô em busca do título, eu não quero fazer mais uma luta para poder esperar o título, não. Pra mim isso não me interessa, eu quero lutar pelo título.
Meanwhile, Islam Makhachev's manager Ali Abdelaziz shared that Islam is set to fight for the welterweight title this year, no matter what happens with Jack Della Maddalena. He explained that UFC leaders, including Dana White and Hunter Campbell, told him that Makhachev will get his title shot, even if Maddalena is unable to compete due to injury. Abdelaziz also pointed out that the UFC made a similar move when Jamahal Hill was injured. They didn't wait, they moved on. According to him, Makhachev will fight for the official welterweight belt, not an interim one.
Islam will fight this year, regardless if Maddalena injured, not injured, hurt. This is the word was given to me by Hunter, by Dana, by everybody. He said, Jamal Hill is not injured. We vacated him. Islam will fight for a title. And these guys give their word is gold to me. They always, whatever they say, they do. And he will fight someone. He can be anybody, but Jack Maddalena is the champion. Congratulations. Islam will fight him. But Jack is not ready. This belt will be Islam will fight for the belt. Not an interim belt, for a real UFC belt.
Ariel Helwani also reacted to Dana White's big announcement for International Fight Week. He confirmed that the main event on June 28th at UFC 317 will take place at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Helwani is excited that finally, after weeks of rumors and debate, the matchup is official. Ilia Topuria, the former featherweight champion who recently gave up his belt, will step into the lightweight division to face former champion Charles Oliveira. The two will battle for the lightweight title, which is now fully vacant, not a temporary or interim version, but the real championship.
Dana White announcing that the main event on June 28th, International Fight Week, UFC 317, T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada. Finally, we get the answer to this question that we've been talking about for way too many weeks. It is, in fact, going to be the former featherweight champion, Ilia Topuria, vacated his title a couple months ago, moving up to 155 pounds to fight Charles Oliveira, the former champion at 155, for the vacant UFC lightweight title. Not the interim, the vacant.
Ariel Helwani further emphasized that the outcome was exactly what he had been saying all along. According to him, there was never a chance this fight would be for an interim title. He pointed out that Ilia Topuria is too smart and calculated to give up his featherweight belt just to compete for anything less than the undisputed championship. Helwani explained that the plan was always clear. It would either be Ilia versus Islam for the official title, or if Islam vacated, then Ilia would face Charles Oliveira for the vacant belt. Once Islam stepped away, everything fell into place just as expected, something Helwani claims he and others had been predicting for weeks, if not months.
I told you this a million times. It was never going to be an interim. There was no way in hell that someone as smart and as shrewd as Ilia Topuria was going to vacate his title to fight for an interim. It was always going to be Ilia versus Islam for the undisputed belt, or if Bilal lost, it was going to be Ilia versus Charles for the vacant title. Bilal lost, and thus it all played out as we have been telling you it was going to play out for the last several months. Or at least the last couple months.
MMA broadcaster Aaron Bronstater shared his excitement about the upcoming main event, where Ilia Topuria will take on Charles Oliveira for the now vacant lightweight title. He believes it's going to be a thrilling matchup, given how both fighters are known for their high finishing rates. Bronstater pointed out how dominant Topuria has looked in recent fights, including his performances against Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway. On the other side, Oliveira is incredibly dangerous and brings a wide range of skills to the cage. With this fight, Topuria now has the opportunity to become a two-division UFC champion, and Bronstater can't wait to see how it unfolds.
Ilia Topuria will face Charles Oliveira for the now vacant lightweight championship. That fight should just be an absolute banger of a fight, because you got two guys with incredibly high finishing rates. We've seen what Ilia's done to his recent opponents in Volkanovski and Holloway, and Charles Oliveira, so dangerous, so versatile in terms of what he brings to the table. I can't wait to see that one. And now Ilia will have the chance to become a two-division champion.
Aaron Bronstater said the real disappointment is missing out on Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria, which he saw as the best matchup the UFC could make in terms of pure skill, two pound-for-pound elites in their prime. He noted that while fans may talk about John Jones versus Tom Aspinall, Makhachev versus Topuria was the true standout fight. He believes politics played a role. Topuria wanted to move up and become a two-division champion, and the UFC likely offered the fight to Islam. But from Makhachev's side, he had already been asking to move to welterweight, had more title defenses, and held the top pound-for-pound spot. In his view, he deserved that opportunity before Topuria.
So will Islam Makhachev, who's going to be moving up to welterweight. With Jack Della Maddalena winning over the weekend, it paves the way for him to become a two-division champion. And I think the loss that we have here is that we're not going to get to see Ilia versus Islam yet. And that's a fight that I thought was, I guess, matchup-wise, the most exciting fight that the UFC could put together. I know people will talk about Jones versus Aspinall, but I think in terms of skill for skill, two guys that are in their prime or close to their prime in Makhachev and Ilia Topuria, two pound-for-pound guys, I felt like that was the fight that was the best matchup that they could make, skill for skill, in MMA today. And so we end up losing that one. Hopefully that comes together sometime down the line. But in the meantime, I think that there's, like a lot of politics involved, right? Because Ilia says, hey, I want to move up to become a two-division champion. They probably offer the fight to Islam, and Islam says, hey, pump the brakes here. Like, I've been asking to move to welterweight for a while to become a two-division champion. I've got more title defenses than this guy. He only defended the title once. I'm the number one pound-for-pound guy. Shouldn't I have that luxury before he does?
Derek Brunson praised Islam Makhachev for not holding the division and vacating the title for Ilia and Oliveira. Derek Brunson said, Charles Oliveira versus Ilia Topuria for the vacant lightweight title at UFC 317. Respect to Islam for not holding up the division. Adam Carterall also got excited to hear a title fight between Charles Oliveira and Ilia Topuria. He acknowledged Islam for not creating a mess in the lightweight division like John Jones did in the heavyweight division. Adam Carterall stated, great to see the title title mess we're experiencing at heavyweight being avoided elsewhere. Islam gets his shot at 170, but 155 moves on. Topuria versus Oliveria is a blockbuster, and it crowns a new undisputed king. What a fight. UFC fighter Terrence McKinney was happy with this fight announcement as he said, "Told y'all Charles versus Ilia for the title." So now it's official, Topuria versus Oliveria for the lightweight crown at UFC 317. The belt is on the line, the stakes are high, and history is about to be made. Whether it's Oliveira reclaiming gold or Topuria becoming a two-division champ, June 28th is set to deliver fireworks. All roads now lead to UFC 317, and to get more updates about this mega event, make sure to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to get instant notification about our latest videos.